Cataclysm, but and so by banning the Jarvan away, it means that you can potentially pick something like the Victor with a little less threat. Now, TT will take that Aphelios. RNG, they can take the Jinx, but they're not pressured to right now. Thresh is available. They have other options. They could go Xin Zhao in the jungle. There's a lot of options here and a lot of strong picks open and available.
Aphelios locked and loaded. Do you just take the Jinx Thresh here? We talk about how the Thresh just does so much to cover for what Jinx doesn't have. An extra escape, loads of kiting ability, and you know, a pseudo hard engage as well if you can land those hooks. So really, really powerful champion, something that is highly prized around the world. And now RNG have the Jinx locked and loaded. Where do they want to go with their last pick? I imagine it will be the Thresh. You do not want to give that over to Puff and SouthWind. No, never mind. They're going to go over to the Xin Zhao instead.
So I actually like this Xin Zhao in this situation because, you know, it is really high priority of all the junglers that I was talking about earlier, the high prior ones. It is sort of up there. And I think as well, if you take the Thresh, TT could have actually just gone for the Lulu. We haven't seen as much of it, but it's a fine lane and it gives you a ton of scaling. With the Thresh open, they are going to lean towards that, but I still think it's okay, right? I think Jarvan being off the table means you're not as worried about going without a Thresh. You know, you don't have that Cataclysm that's that locking you in. We actually see a Zoe come out as well, so something that's going to help contest that mid jungle in terms of the mid lane priority. RNG, they can answer the Zoe now with the mid lane pick. Victor is a decent matchup into that, but you won't have as much pressure early. Or they could just lock in a support now if they're worried about things being banned away. And I think they're leaning towards the Thresh. It's a good it's a good matchup into the Thresh, often picked in that situation. So RNG should be confident with their bot lane.
Yeah, and we know how good Ming is on this Nautilus. It is one of his most prominent champions all of 2021, so nothing to be worried about in that regards. As we now see RNG going to be starting to ban away. I imagine junglers take away some of those bigger picks like the Lee Sin, maybe even the Viego away from Frigid. Whereas on the other side, TT, you now have an opportunity to try and maybe ban away Xiaohu's champion pool and get Captain a little bit of an easier laning phase.
Yeah, there's quite a range of mid laners you can target here. Victor's a standard one, right? But you can also look at Syndra, you can look at Vex, you can look at LeBlanc. There's also the Twisted Fate we saw Xiao have a good game on. So a lot of options there. I think really eliminating things that you're going to have difficulty with in the laning phase makes sense. So Syndra is one that Zoe doesn't have the most fun matchup into. For RNG, they're actually going to go for the Olaf here, not as worried about the Viego. Viego not going to have as much early pressure. And they also want Xin Zhao to be comfortable his ability to duel. TT do just go for that LeBlanc. So kind of as we expect in terms of those bans. And now for picks for RNG, you just take your mid lane here and leave that top lane counter pick open, unless you want to prioritize something like the Gwen, potentially as a blind that you feel really comfortable to take.
They want to go, and they're actually going to go with the Vex here around this side. So again, we talked about this in our meta breakdown. Vex has become one of those big power picks for the LPL in that mid lane. 4th highest so far, and it is just great at getting on top of people, causing distortion with that fear passive. And straight away, I can't even talk about the Vex pick because we see the Talon and the Graves being picked up for TT here.
Yeah, Graves pretty strong in the top lane. We do occasionally see people picking Tryndamere into him as an answer. But the Talon, we haven't seen as much of. You know, it was very prevalent in the World Championship, but we're seeing it now as something that has a lot of mobility on the map, a lot of early pressure, but not as much sort of straight up 1v1 dueling as the Xin Zhao early. And we see Bin toying with the idea that Jax does end up locking it in. So something that could be relevant to side lane. And a lot of auto attackers on TT is something to think about. So does give him a lot of value if he does end up joining those team fights.
A lot of value. Counter-Strike will get him a lot of I suppose disengage should anyone try and jump in on top of him. And for TT, there, look, like if I'm being, you know, from my play-by-play brain, I'm not exactly an analyst, but this is a very heavy C champion, kill champion. Try and get those odd number skirmishes and just let the Aphelios scale in that early game.
Yeah, I mean, I think their mid jungle is strong, and if they can unlock them and get them moving around the map, they can apply pressure bot. They can even lean up towards the top side. I think they have a lot of agency and pick potential, sort of a lot of varied tools to work with. And as you said, the Aphelios, especially when you look at the enemy composition, it's only really that Jinx who has like a range advantage over him. So he should just be able to shred anyone who gets close. Whereas on the other side, RNG, they have pretty decent lane matchups, I'd say. I'm really looking away though on this Xin Zhao, how he pairs up with Ming on this Nautilus and how they can sort of be present on the map, because their jungle support is such a powerful duo that we've seen consistently be a big powerhouse for them, and they have great tools in this situation to make their presence known.
See how both these teams end up faring out at the start of this. We have seen RNG be incredibly aggressive in that early game, even until our loss against FBX. They were very active, getting down into that bot side, and even solo kills coming out from Xiaohu in that mid lane. So we'll see if they're able to keep that going. And for TT, like we said, it's about getting that Aphelios going. It's about finding odd number of skirmishes for this Talon and Zoe to just wreak havoc with the paddle stars, the trouble bubbles, and of course the hemorrhage stacks that you're able to get. So we'll wait to see where both of these teams go. And we'll wait to see how this series unfolds. For RNG, it's all about dominating. It's all about getting themselves back on track to be contesting at the top. And for TT, it's all about getting that first win, baby.
Just this Nexus, that's all they need at this point. Get
just
to destroy
one,
Nexus
just one.
this year. A little bit rough, but we'll see how they fare in this one. And I think the thing is, they have tools, right? We haven't seen the Talon as much. It's not something that it's not on the same tier as the other junglers, but it is still a solid pick that can move around the map quickly. They can sort of have that presence quite consistently and is hard to punish. But I'm really just looking at what way you can do, right? You're picking this Xin Zhao, so much skirmishing power early. You can look towards mid, and if you actually look to punish Captain, that can be a pretty significant advantage, because I think mid jungle being able to spread out that pressure will make a big difference this game.
To be able to make a big difference, both teams taking the early game, or at least the first skirmish, very safely. Going to pop down a ward over the bush for RNG, making sure they do not get caught out by a flay or being over pushed out by SouthWind, as both teams happy enough to take themselves onto the map without any real risk or reward. They will get control over this middle brush, though. It will be TT. They will throw out a hook, though. You can see already this is where the fight for that middle brush does end up going down. Both these supports will be wanting to go for it, because if you can get that level 2 first and you have the first foot forward, it can be devastating for the opposition.
And if you start burning summoners, that's where your junglers can start to move down towards bot lane and make things happen. I think for both these teams, we've seen a lot of tension put from TT towards Puff and Southwind, but with these compositions, the Aphelios and the Jinx is kind of that late game win condition, right? The rest of the champions have a lot of tools to offer and will still be relevant, but when you hit that sort of 30-minute point, you want your Aphelios to be strong, you want your Jinx to be strong, so I expect all that action to be present around bot lane, and whoever comes out ahead in that should feel pretty comfortable.
Nice to see. For a pretty standard setup for both of these mid lane and top laners, the Graves will get the first push. Pretty obvious the way that goes down. You can see the counter strike now being available alongside the leap strike, but you can see Talon moving over here into the mid lane. Xiaohu has got the fear, but now he's just lost it, so we are going to see possibly a flash burnt here in the mid lane. Yep, does not want to get hit by the slow on the backside of that, so again, good early progress here from TT, something that we have seen from them in their previous games.
Yeah, just a really solid gang from Frigid, able to move in quickly towards Xiaohu. And we talked about earlier how having the ability to move from that mid jungle is a massive factor. So I like the fact they put some early pressure down. But again, Xiaohu makes the right call with that flash, because Ignite available to Captain could have been enough to put a lot of pressure down.
Bin's fancying himself up on this top side. You mentioned how this Jackson to the Graves is going to be a very strong, light counter to it as such. We do see a hook in the bot side alongside the flay, but with the aftershock available to Ming, they are going to try and turn this one around. The hook does go wide, don't land the zap either, and Southwind will be able to fight another day. Both the bot laners getting very, very low, but no one burning too many summoners just yet.
Ben has to be careful. It's kind of like
Ooh, the flash
so
after the leap
close.
strike. Very, very close there. And this is why I said it's a light counter, because if the Jax doesn't have counter strike, Graves is still Graves.
Yeah, so for me, in this matchup, right, Graves is going to be able to find priority because he AoEs the wave so easily. He's going to push Bin on his tower, and Bin is comfortable just leaning into the later stages, right? Jax scales up really effectively, and in duels, it's hard to handle. But in this matchup, you can find windows to jump in to counter strike, but Bin just played it kind of on the edge there, maybe overstay when he didn't have the cooldowns, and nearly ends up trading his life for it.
Almost a big win there for the side of TT. See them trying and poking and prodding, seeing if they can get anything going for them. We will have a bit of an advantage in that mid lane. Vex able to wave clear a little bit more effectively in this early stages compared to Zoe, who will just become a one-shotting machine with that paddle star once they get a couple more levels and a couple more items available to her. And not gonna be forcing Xiaohu out of the teleport either, so not really that big of a deal. Pre-14 minutes, if you are not aware, you can only teleport to your own towers. You cannot teleport to wards or minions, so not really going to be that effective at making plays across the map, but should be able to get maybe a little cheater recall a little later.
Yeah, things been pretty slow, honestly, so far. We haven't seen too much presence. Wei has just been farming up pretty comfortably. And other than that gank mid from Frigid, nothing too much has happened. We do see a warning ping, though, coming out from TT. They have a pretty good read on where Wei is. He actually walks over the control ward, so they fully know he's going for this. And I'm not sure I'm a big fan of this play, right? You're against a Talon. There's very, very low chance that you're actually going to take him out. But Wei's just going to be happy with throwing that one singular ward down.
Talon, and also Talon is ahead on farm. I guess it's only the one camp, but it does make a difference as we can see the ward being taken away by Captain. Just pop down the pink ward just to make sure, as we can now see Xiaohu maybe looking to see if Talon is just hovering around somewhere. Hasn't seen the jungler in a little bit. They don't know exactly where he is, and they want to make sure that they're not going to get caught out behind as Ming does go hunting for either vision or a hook.
Yeah, I think maybe checking the brush for a control ward. That's a really common one to get a control ward down early. And when you're against a Talon, he can go for those really deep invades just to throw down vision. Obviously, just making sure, you know, if Ming's going to go set up some vision in the river, you don't want to get him flanked from behind. You don't want them to have some optics deeper in the jungle.
Now they have vision on Wei, who's able to get himself back out away from the Thresh, but this is good from TT so far. They're avoiding big vision, they're gaining vision of their own, they're kind of keeping the information for themselves, and with the information they have, knowing that the Xin Zhao is pathing top, this is a free dragon.
Yeah, I think they have priority bot lane, they have a wave pushed in mid, so they're comfortable to go for this one. There's not really much that Wei can do, and critically, they know he's pathing up towards the top side, so easy setup just to grab this first dragon without any real contention.
Good start. Good early setup here for TT.
Hey, they haven't lost yet.
They haven't lost yet. That's going to be like the tagline for TT. It's like, haven't lost yet. V5, 016 or bust. That's how you kind of have to look for this at the moment for TT. And it is a bit of a testament. It sounds like we're kind of like maybe dunking on them a little too hard, but it's more of a testament to just how damn strong the LPL has become over the years, and just becomes a more common thing that you can technically go 0-16 and still be considered probably a semi-decent team. It's kind of crazy.
Just a stack league, let's be real. Does make it difficult. Wei gonna clear up the scuttle on the top side. We do have Herald spawning in about a minute, so really nice timing to pick this one up and to set up for it. We'll see if he spots the control, and he's walked past it again, right? This is the second time he's gone past it, and I just think it's funny how they checked that brush on the other side of the map, like to make sure it was clear, and then he's just walked past that one 2 times in a row, and
It doesn't matter if you know he's there. Wei's just so confident in his own play that he's like, I'm still gonna win. There's nothing you can do about it. The play is coming. You just have to deal with it at the end of it all. As you can see, Xiaohu did get the little shooter recall back, so he's back onto the map with the sorcerer's shoes, excuse me. And yeah, it's a little bit of an interesting setup. We might see a hook coming out here on the bot side. There's no level 6s for either of these AD carries, but they are sitting there. SouthWind has now separated the two. Ming will get flashed on. He's going to flash away. Nicely done. Misses the hook. They will use the Moonlight Vigil to almost take him out. Never mind about the almost. They definitely will. First blood going over to TT.
Yeah, I love the decision from TT, right? You have red, white on the Aphelios. A lot of damage in those close-up fights, but you know, that can hold. We'll see if anything goes down here, because it looks like Frigid and Wei might actually run into each other. Nope, looks like they're just going to back away. But yeah, so Ming, you know, I think he made the right decision for the time to flash to avoid the hook, right? Didn't flash in a straight line, but it really just wasn't going to get you away from the Aphelios. You just so much damage with those 2 weapons. And now TT just start up the Herald. RNG looking contestant. Ming is coming in. He's going to be there first. This is RNG favored.
Ooh, they don't land the ult from the Vex, though, and you can see now, oh god, Frigid, he needs to get out. He flashes over the wall, so he's not able to get away from that one there. Where's the Rift Herald taken? I think it was actually stolen away. I didn't actually have to triple check on that one. RNG got it. Oh my god, I didn't even realize. RNG were able to steal it away, and now they're in full retreat mode. They're trying to see if they can get away. There's so much parkour happening. Nice, another dodge with the hook, and they will eventually take Ming down. RNG 0-2 on the game score, but they did get themselves the Rift Herald.
Yeah, stealing the Herald pretty big. We see Ming actually was able to secure that, but TT make a great decision, backing away, re-engaging once SouthWind has arrived. But critically, I think the mistake from RNG was they committed so heavily onto a Talon, right? He's like the hardest champion to catch. As long as he gets near a wall, they all try to flash to pin him down and just weren't able to. And you can see that sort of replay, right? The steal comes in from Wei, which is obviously great for RNG. But in this follow-up play, they're like, oh, Talon's in the pit. But it's like, yeah, it's Talon, though. And he just ends up getting this flash away. They obviously can't chase him down because, again, it's a Talon. And then he makes this decision to jump back in and pop the ult so they can't turn on him. And honestly, I'm just going to say it. RNG were lucky to only lose one here.
Yeah, it was a very scattered play, and neither of the AD carries went up to this place. It was a straight 4v4, but Frigid able to get him out. I will say, in a excuse and, you know, very much babying of RNG, if that hooks lands onto Talon, he's just further enough away from the wall, they get all the different CCs down, he's probably dead. But like you said, it didn't go down like that. They invested a lot, and then they were very much left up a creek without a paddle.
Yeah, and the thing is, they still come out ahead overall in the play because they have the Herald. The question is where they're going to look to use it, right? Where can you translate it? I feel like mid would be a decent shout. We often see teams go for 2 plates mid, and then, oh, see a play here.
Yeah, they're going to go on top of Ming again. 0-3 for Ming. He is being targeted right now, and it's about 1,000, maybe 1,500 gold lead here for TT as they look to maybe take this next dragon in a minute's time, and they have vision on way. This has been something they've done fantastically all game. They've just kept tabs on this jungler, and we talked about how pivotal it was for RNG to get those early plays.
Yeah, and I mean, TT are finding themselves in a comfortable spot, right? Frigid is now past level 6. He's got his ultimate, means he can be a lot more aggressive. SouthWind is consistently landing these hooks, and he's got the glacial augment as well, so really difficult to deal with the presence from that Thresh. And this is TT in a nutshell, right? Strong early game. Question is, can they maintain this? Can they keep this going? And what are RNG going to look to do with that Herald in pocket? I do think mid is a good shout, right? If you get that mid tower down with the second Herald, you can definitely start to open up the map, but you need the opportunity. Right now, they are fishing towards bot lane, but again, waves being spotted. They'll get some vision down, but not necessarily going to get an actual play, although it looks like they're going to throw that Herald bot here and just take 2 plates. But I think TT should be comfortable just being able to defend this one as soon as Puff gets over here. It's not going to be a full tower.
No, it's not going to be a full tower, as they're just trying to get Gala back up on level playing field with Puff. Puff already got himself the Gale Force, and they might look to try and go for this fight instead. Never mind, it's going to be a hook missed and a hook land. We do see the ultimate coming out from the Nautilus to try and keep Puff away. Frigid is here. And all they do is burn a stopwatch. So a couple of ultimates burned, maybe even Ignite or 2. But as I was saying, he's fancying his chances right now against the Graves. Flash forward and oh, not quite able to outplay it. Solo Bolo on the top side as New picks up a kill.
Such a close one, and Bin just feeling himself in that situation, right? He got Graves so low, but just the base damage comes in from New. He's able to trade it back, in TT winning pretty consistently across the map, honestly. This is a good start, right? They're up in gold by over 1,000. They're just picking up the second dragon, and it is going to be the Chemtech Soul, so even better for them. And we will be able to get a replay on the top side. So Bin starts the fight off at a bit lower HP, lands the counter strike, but the thing is he didn't block too much damage with it, and you see the extra resistances from his ult makes this close, but the dash at the end means he can't follow up after the leap strike. And you playing that one beautifully, finding the solo kill on RNG's top laner.
Yeah, I will say that was a pretty big buffering of the CC as well coming out from New. He was able to use his collateral damage to, yes, he was stunned, but while he was stunned, he was still moving, so it didn't make that much of a difference. So big move there from from TT's top lane over RNG's, and now still only about a 1,500 gold lead, but you've got 2 dragons in your back pocket. You are starting to get this Aphelios up and running, is almost at that Berserker Greaves as well, so really does feel like TT, if they can just transition this a little bit, they should be in very, very good standings, and they're the ones pushing in this bot lane, they're the one pushing in the top side, they're the ones making the plays.
Yeah, and they are finding success from it. The question is, will they have a TT moment, right? I've seen this situation before where they have that advantage, they find the early lead, and they just make a big mistake and throw it. And honestly, I really hope for them that that doesn't end up happening here, because it would just be such a tragedy to be doing so well with this early start. Still a long way to go though, right? It's still not a crazy lead, but they are in a comfortable spot right now. We saw Puff able to pick up a couple of plates in the bot lane. Now just going for the reset. And actually, Ming, man, he looks like he wants 4 deaths.
He's got to be so careful, man. Like, he has not had the greatest of starts. And look, the support dying a multiple amount of times doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It is still just a support. You'd rather that than your Jinx or your, your Jax getting killed off, and or your Vex as such. But it is still gold going over the side of TT. It is still time which you are not on the map to be able to protect and engage for your team. So for TT, they are happy to keep picking you off if you keep walking forward. And yes, it is still only 1,000 gold lead. If you look at the CSs, it is still pretty decently close between everybody. So it's not the biggest deficit in the world, and we know how good RNG are once they get together and start running that macro game.
And it makes you think, right, when I look at this situation, imagine if this Nautilus had been like a Lulu, right? Something we're seeing more in other regions, not so much here. It would matter a lot less that you're not having the early impact because, you know, you pick the scale incredibly well. Whereas here, you picked it into the Thresh, you're 0-3, you're not having too much pressure with it. It is still going to offer the ult later in the game to be that CC lockdown, but just not the greatest performance so far. We see TT able to pick up the bot lane tower, and actually, if you look at the minion wave bot lane, a lot of minions being missed that crashed in the tower. The trade-off RNG will pick up that second herald and going to be able to use that to hopefully crack another tower down and expand the map a little bit for themselves.
Yeah, and honestly, you're totally fine taking this trade if you're TT as well, because that Rift Herald only really gets you a tower, maybe a tower and a half. Flash forward. Ooh, Xiaohu didn't have the fancy feet, so he had to commit his own. So a support flash for a mid flash is totally worth it for TT. And again, they're being proactive, they're being aggressive, and they're the ones knocking at the door of this mid lane tier 1.
SouthWind has been so good this game, honestly. I mean, going up against Ming in a matchup Ming chose and just being the better support so far. Really great to see, but we see Ming looking for some revenge.
Yeah, looking for a lot of revenge. Xiaohu goes on a magical journey and ends up being taken out, so it's a 1-for-1. Moonlight Vigil comes out as they try and gale force in aggressively, flashing away after that one there. We can see now Ming has to go golden. You've got the red guns. Ming has nowhere to go. Captain will pick up the kill. Oh, Captain, my Captain, as TT do trade off 2-for-1, but while that's been happening, Bin's pushing in bot side.
That was a hilarious interaction, honestly, from Xiaohu. Definitely did not factor in for that one when he went for it. But ultimately, RNG look for a pick. They look for a strong AD play. It ends up backfiring. And once again, TT come out ahead. We do have to take a look at the summoner's burn, though, right? A lot across the board. And something to note is 50 seconds until that Chemtech Dragon, right? Third Drake, you definitely don't want to give this one over to TT. But you now know Puff is flashless. SouthWind is flashless. On the other side, Xiaohu, Gala, and Ming no flash. Something I gotta say though, if you're without a flashes and a mobile AD carry, I'd much rather be playing with the Thresh, right? Having that lantern available to get you out of a sticky situation.
Yeah, let's have a look at this replay now, because this is just Frigid getting caught out. Let's have a look at this interaction. It goes, whee! And honestly, if this super late game, that's probably the perfect situation for Xiaohu.
Yeah, I mean, if you had the cooldowns available to follow up with the fear, I think the thing is he got CC chains, so he just wasn't able to get it off. But, you know, things get a little bit messy. A lot of time bought by the Xin Zhao ultimate and by the stopwatch, but Gala just not strong enough really to follow up. And now, a very delayed recall from Puff, by the way, but he does have 2 items. The question is, can he get here in time?
Frigid is on the back side of this, so maybe they don't get the dragon, but they may look for the fight afterwards. They're not going to get the steal, but it's a hell of a lot of damage already. You can see now Gala in a little bit of trouble. They don't know exactly where it is. Everyone gets clipped by the end of that as well. Now Gala taken out, so now it's a 5v4. They do not land the hook onto Ming. He doesn't have a flash. He will get hit by the trouble bubble though, and he'll go down to a sleepy state just for a moment. There is the ultimate used there by Xiaohu as he goes in, trades off SouthWind. They will miss the Moonlight Vigil as they trade off 2-for-2, 3-for-2, and you can see now Bin is in the wrong side of the map right now. He's got flash, he can leap strike over the wall, but they do not know if they can catch him right now. He had a little bit of extra movement speed as well, should be able to keep himself out. So still a dragon for RNG, but big kills going over the side of TT.
I gotta say, RNG, you can be happy with that one, right? The 1 kill down in the play, it was a 2-for-3, but you got the dragon. That's the important thing. At the end of the day, they did overcommit a little bit on the back end, right? You could have just walked away, but honestly, trading kills in this situation when you're the team moved behind isn't so bad. But I love this play from Frigid, hiding in the stealth, hiding in the brush, and then flashes in just to burst Gala out. Very little you can do as a Jinx with no flash. Unfortunately, SouthWind not connecting on the death sentence, but then we see the follow-up come in, right? The Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands, RNG say, right, we're going to turn this around, we're going to kill SouthWind, but it just means they commit to the play, and it means TT can start to shred through.
It's just a big, pretty much chase down right now, and yes, it is a very Fiesta-like game, shall we say. At the moment, it is very skirmish heavy, but honestly, I think if you're the TT, you're happy with that. You're happy to keep RNG, you know, guessing, keeping them on their toes constantly, because it's usually when the better teams, the bigger teams, get themselves into a position of power is when they're able to just dictate when things go, when things happen, and this is the big moment for TT. You've got an advantage. You're 4,000 gold up. You got to make it stick. We talked about it. You've just got to blow up one Nexus. This is probably the best opportunity they've had to do that this season so far.
it's looking good, right? They have a pretty significant goal lead, 3.5k. They have scaling elements to the composition. Their Aphelios is strong. It all looks positive. So why am I so stressed out right now?
We're all very stressed. Kelsey is very stressed right now as a TT fan herself. So yeah, it does feel it, because we've been in this situation before with TT. Even just this split, we have seen TT go from these amazing moments to just out of nowhere losing 4 kills, a Baron, and then they just can't do anything about it. So 2.5 minutes until this dragon spawns. I want to see them set up for it properly. I want to see them maybe look around the map to maybe, as we said earlier, get those odd numbered skirmishes where they can make the most out of this Talon.
And then the main thing is get the resets synced a bit better, right? Puff was very slow to reset. He was greeding for the collector, and as a result, they just weren't even in time for the dragon. I will say I'm glad they didn't try to fight it without him. That would have been a definite easy way to throw away that lead, but even so, I would have liked to see them play. Oh,
and this is what we're talking about. These little small moments where TT then lose momentum, lose time on the map, and they have to wait now 30 seconds until that Thresh respawns.
Yeah, it definitely makes things a little more difficult. And now RNG can push in, establish a bit more vision control. You just can't face check into the chem fog. It's way too dangerous. And now it just means it's not just the fact that they lost the Thresh, but it means that until he's back, they have a lot less safety, right? Whenever you're playing aggressive, knowing you have the lantern to pull you pull you away from danger, means that you're a lot more comfortable. So they'll just have to wait till he's back up, but a lot more vision established by RNG, and it's just more gold into their pockets.
More golds. See 2 items already for the Jinx, despite being 0, 1, and 3, has kept up very nicely in CS. So actually Bin has just been solo pushing the bot side, so he's about 20 or so CS ahead of his counterparts. So again, these are the little things that we talk about for TT that they need to clean up. And again, we're not saying they're definitely going to lose. Obviously, they are the ones we expect to win in this particular situation, but it is little problems like that that are going to be the death of them if they do not clean them up. So for RNG, they're going to see if they can make stuff happen. They're going to see if they can keep themselves together. We will see the trouble bubble land. That's going to be Xiaohu going to sleep, but nothing else to talk about from there. Turret did go down on the top side. So again, RNG just getting passive gold from setting up their lane states. 30 seconds. This will be sole point for TT. And you can see RNG, they've got a lot of vision around this Baron pit. They honestly might just look to try and maybe push in towards that and do a bit of a trade.
And actually, there was a control ward on Baron from TT, and they just got moved to a different location. So now they don't have any vision in that area. RNG definitely leaning that direction. Oh, engage comes in.
They get the engage, the hook lands, they try and trade it back, but that's the Talon dead, so you definitely cannot go for the jungler right now. They are not going to be able to land the collateral damage onto Ming, so he will get out with his life. And again, TT struggling to get themselves back on solid footing. RNG seem to be back on the ascendancy.
Yet the picks coming out really solid for Ming, and with taking out Frigid, it makes you think they can't necessarily go for the dragon straight away. But the problem is, so much follow-up damage came through from Captain. Actually, he just found a sleepy trouble bubble onto Bin. Gonna chunk him out.
Oh, the ignite! Tick, tick, boom! Captain takes a nice little pick, and now TT can go back and get themselves on the sole point.
Yeah, really solid plays coming out from the side of TT, because you lose your jungler and you still secure the dragon because of all the poke you lay down, all the damage you do, and RNG ended up so low they couldn't even fight. It's unfortunate that TT weren't able to get that dragon earlier, otherwise they'd have Chemtech Soul, and honestly, I don't even think TT could mess that one up, but they still have another one to go, but they are still in the lead right now.
Still in the lead on Soul Point. It is a Chem Soul. We've talked about this many, many times, but let's have a look at the replay here, because this is just straight up Bin getting caught out. They know exactly where he is and where he's going.
Yeah, Captain has been so good on the Zoe this game, honestly, consistently landing bubbles. And the thing is, there's been so many he hasn't been able to follow up on just because of the way RNG defended the members who get sleepy trouble bubbled. But he finds one here with Bin isolated, able to land the kill. And right now, we look at the items, right? You have the Loons, you have the Sork Shoes, and you have the Shadow Flame. That is the full pen combo. Everyone on the enemy team basically is going to have 0 MR, right? No one has bought any magic resist yet. So really doing a massive amount of damage. And on top of that, both Captain and Puff have picked up stopwatches. So if it does come down to a fight, they have that extra tool to keep themselves alive a little bit longer.
Another thing to recognize as well in this particular matchup is that for RNG, every single kill is on Xiaohu. He is 5-2 and 0. He is the damage. He is the guy who's going to be able to make this fight turn around if it is going to turn around for the side of RNG. So for TT, your objective is easy. Stay away from Xiaohu, or if you can, just pick him off and get him away from the fight completely. So that's the big moment we're going to have to wait and see from RNG. Can they keep Xiaohu alive? Can they get him into a position where he can get in with that ultimate and get themselves back into a winning position in this game?
You see Bin has moved up with wave priority, potentially looking for something here. He will be spotted as soon as he steps out in this situation. So TT know his position, and he's not really going to be able to find anything. I think the hard thing is how much the Thresh makes things difficult, right? Really good at playing away. The Jax has the Glacial Augment as well to slow him down, but also Xiaohu's main thing is you want everyone grouped together, right? If everyone's grouped together, Xiaohu can go in, land a big AoE fear. The thing is with TT's composition, everyone's going to be pretty split up, right? Thresh is going to be able to Lantern Puff to a safe spot. Captain will be sort of at an angle looking for a Sleepy Trouble Bubble. New and Frigid are both very mobile, both very hard to pin down. So it's not one of those compositions where you have this like death ball that you can just fly in as a Vex and just nuke everyone down. And as a result, kind of difficult to see where Xiaohu might be able to find those big plays coming out, but he definitely is in a position to do so with all those kills, with those items currently in pocket.
Yeah, and we looked at the gold there just very, very quickly. It's even in, you know, AD carries, even in the mid lanes. Basically just 1,000 gold lead for Frigid and 1,000 gold lead for New, as we can see now, with Xiaohu has got the Shadow Surge available to him, and you can see Bin knows that, so they're just saying, look, we know that we can get this kill. If they can get a big side lane kill now, that means you got to put TT in a really bad situation. There we go, Shadow Surge all the way in, personal space to land the fear, and that's exactly what you wanted to be seeing from RNG. Xiaohu taking control of the side lane.
The power of having the double teleport late game means you can go for plays like that in the side lane. You know that the enemy team can't do Baron because you can just TP both your solo laners in. New, he saw it coming, but you know, it's a little bit too slow to dash it. I feel like you needed to flash it in that situation to guarantee you would avoid it. As a result, goes down, and it's just RNG closing that lead. Now only 1,000 gold apart, and at 26 minutes, that's not really that significant.
It is not significant at all. 1,000 gold, and you've got an Infinity Edge onto your Jinx, so lots of damage available to you. And this is, again, what we talked about for RNG. It has not been a great game for them. It got to be real from you. It's still not over for them yet, but they are that caliber of team. They are a team that can, when presented with an opportunity, get themselves back onto the map, get themselves back into a winning position while still being behind. So a minute now until this next Drake spawns. This would be Soul for the side of TT, and you can see they really want to go for this, but they need to land some serious poke from this Zoe before they can go anywhere.
Yeah, and having the vision control is such a key element in this one. It's very hard actually to contest it right now because, you know, if we see TT move towards their side of the jungle, they'll be in the chem fog. They'll be able to fire from the fog of war with the Zoe. It's such a powerful position to be in. You can see right now Captain already there. Unless you can get a control ward over the wall, very hard to see where the skill shots are coming from. And this fight is game deciding, right? If TT get the soul, it could be enough just to carry them over the edge. But they have to make sure they deal with the big threat. Xiaohu is a massive problem. Gala can be a massive problem on those 3 items.
Still yet to get the Infinity Edge on the Aphelios. So did go with the stopwatch. There are still 2 perfect timings on the side of TT. They actually have a Magi Soul Steal as well for Captain. So he's going to be able to scale up. They have position over mid-wave. And now Frigid sitting around here. They know exactly where he is. He will not get hooked. But now the rest of RNG are a little bit separated. They can see there up to the top of your mini-map. Bin is just a little bit away. He wants to jump in with that counter-strike. They're poking, they're prodding. The counter-strike has been used. Very small cooldown at this stage. He's level 15. Dragon started up. Bin gets himself over the wall. Do they have enough damage? That's a half a health onto the Jackson. Maybe right now they could go for it. They're going to try and get away from this one right now. They're going to jump straight back in on top of this one. Who gets the Dragon? It is going to be RNG, and they get Frigid as well. The Gala can get a little bit excited, but a flash there from SouthWind keeps him alive, and RNG get themselves another objective, another kill, and another little bit of gold.
Oh, it was a critical moment. The fact that Wei was able to secure the Dragon, it was a little bit precarious, I won't be honest, because if you lose that soul is so powerful, and TT honestly could potentially even just win the game off the back of that. But actually, TT, their jungle is down. They don't think RNG will expect this. I don't expect it'll work, and they're just gonna back away.
I think they realized after a second there, they were like, wait, we don't have a jungler. If the Graves is a topsider, we will just die to the massive AoEs. They packed themselves away. But again, critical moment there for RNG as we look at the replay here.
Let's have a look at sort of the mechanics that go down around this Dragon, right? You see Frigid quite far away from the Dragon, so he dashes over to get in range and actually tries to go in and finish it off. Goes for the Q, but ends up smiting Ming there.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
Not much else to say on that situation.
that was
A little
the
bit of a
soul.
rough run. That would have been the soul, right? And Wade manages to move back in time to secure the dragon with his own smite. Yeah. Well, at least he has another chance, right? In 3.5 minutes, RNG still 2 away from their soul, but that is, you know, when it comes to these critical moments in these games, like we said, we've seen these moments before where TT are ahead and then they just make mistakes and end up throwing it away. And I really hope for Frigid's sake that that isn't the mistake that ends up costing them this game.
Yeah, again, I always feel so bad giving such shtick, if you will, to TT because they show little moments. Like this entire first 20 minutes of this game, it was great. I really thought that TT were looking very, very solid and it had opportunities for them. But then things like that happen, and little small mistakes go against them. And again, we've mentioned it a million times, and we'll probably mention it a million times more. Better teams will capitalize. Better teams will get on top of that and punish you for those very, very small mistakes. And that's just kind of how it's been so far for RNG, crawling themselves back into this game. Now, I will catch myself and say, even if RNG win this game, this was not a dominating performance from RNG, and there's still a lot of question marks for them coming into game 2.
Yeah, they've had to work hard. They are still working hard, right? They are still behind in dragons, in gold. They are still trying to find their foothold on this game again, and it's not been super convincing. But I think this is kind of the story of the league at the moment, is that, you know, the weaker teams can still come out ahead in the early games. It's just closing it out without making mistakes. And you have like EDG. It doesn't even feel like a mistake when it's against other teams, but against them, they will just rip you apart. Right now, RNG is trying to do that to TT, but it's still pretty slow going. They're going to push in this mid lane. They have pretty decent vision control around that dragon, around that Baron, sorry, they're trying to reestablish. But actually, they're going to move down the dragon. It's 2 minutes before dragon, but they're going to get the work in early. They know how important, once again, it is to deny the soul from TT.
And it's so easy from RNG when they're already in a position to fight, to go in with that Shadow Surge, to go in with the AoE Fear, but right now, TT recognizing that they weren't in a position there to contest around the Dragon Vision. They knew that there was going to be some resets coming in for RNG, so they controlled themselves a little bit of vision around that Baron Pit. Going to be able to keep themselves at least in the unknowns, if you will, of RNG, making sure that they're not keeping RNG honest.
Making sure, and that's the thing, right? There is a situation where they leave the dragon to RNG and take the Baron. I don't think you should, but at least keeps the threat alive, right? If RNG don't have vision around the Baron and you move over, they have to respect that threat. Oh, ult comes out and misses from Xiaohu.
Oh, and actually Moonlight Vigil, Ming almost falls there. Now Gala's kind of separated from his team. No real way of catching up to him right now. They will land another trouble bubble, and this could be a little bit of an opportunity here for TT. They're hunting. They're praying that they can find someone with a low enough health bar, but they're not quite able to do it. And Gala, even by himself, even with this incredibly low turret, should be enough to dissuade everybody from TT. There's going to be the Super Mega Death Rocket. Not going to land out there, but 40 seconds now until this dragon spawns. Bin in the bot side, just split pushing. Playing PvE. Trouble Bubble has been cleansed. No cleanse available, and Xiaohu is TP'd as well. This could be a pivotal moment for TT. They need to get this dragon.
Yeah, a lot of things being here from mostly RNG. TT only down the Moonlight Vigil. Frigid is able to heal up. He has the Eclipse in his pocket. And now, once again, fishing for poke.
They're going to fish for it. There's going to be
Beautiful.
a very large AoE disengage. As I say that now, we can see now Wei goes in. It's actually Xiao who has to go golden. He's on absolutely nothing as he goes into the Zhonya state. Now we can see maybe they can get Frigid out, but he's getting chased back, chased down. He's got himself a dark passage to keep himself alive, but RNG have done just enough to keep themselves in control of this Dragon Pit, and they'll put themselves on a soul point as well.
But I think TT can just go for the Baron here, right? 2 members of RNG are criminally low on HP, and Wei's actually going... No, he's actually stopped his reset. He said no, but they're going to have this Baron. It's going to be so
no, they
quick.
They can't take it. Super Mega Death Rocket will come in and literally kill them all. They cannot go for it right now, and this is TT. It's slipping away again. Ox, it's just... they can't finish it off.
It's such a disaster there, and honestly... I feel like it all sort of came from the fact that RNG initiated, right? They didn't give a chance for Captain to lay down any poke. They were like, as soon as they saw him, we're going in. And yes, did they kill Captain at the start? Absolutely not. But they burned the lantern, and that meant they could then threaten Puff. That meant they could then threaten the rest of the team. With that on cooldown, they could have a lot more agency. And we've gone from a situation where TT were 1 away from getting that soul. RNG have matched them 3 dragons in a row. That is not going to feel good.
And the thing is even if RNG don't get the soul, the stats alone on a 3-stack dragon are just massive. You're getting so much value out of that extra percentage damage that you get from the chem dragons. So it's just going to be a big moment. But speaking of big moments, they land the hook. Can they burst out Bin? He's got the counter strike, he's got the flash, and he gets out by the skin of his teeth. Collateral damage not going to be able to take him down, nor is the ignite. We can see now Gala very low, pumping out the rockets. The Aphelios is dead. Can Gala keep himself alive? As we can see now, Graves going in. Never mind, it's not Gala, it's Xiaohu. As Xiaohu finally falls, but then Bin says, peekaboo, I'm back in town. TP's in. RNG get themselves another kill. They're going to look to make it at the ace, and then probably look for the Baron. This is going to be huge for RNG.
They're still hunting down Captain. He's the one left alive, and his goal is just to buy as much time as possible. Don't let them take that free dragon. He's hiding in the alcove at the moment, and they're not going to risk it. They're not going to go for it. Alcove Gaming. What an addition. They are going to head over to the Baron now. Frigid is 13 seconds, but it's a Talon. Remember, he can scale the map incredibly quickly, but they do this so fast. I think they should just have this one.
They should. They do not have smite though, so you got to be a little bit careful of where the Zoe is. They have decent vision control. You can see Ming just hovering around saying, I don't want any triple bubble to land. That's going to be the Baron going over to the side of RNG. They don't even wait for Xiaohu to come and respawn. But let's have a look at this replay because it looks so good for TT, but they just can't get the kills.
Yeah, I mean, I think the mistake here was you're going in on a Jax, right? We talked about this earlier, how good the Counter-Strike is against this team. When he pops it, he actually soaks so many autos that just don't connect. And then we see this aggressive play coming out from Puff, and his positioning ends up being so rough, right? He gets jumped on, he gets blown up. We see them all getting caught in this AoE, and it's just a really bad situation for TT to fight. And I feel like this is the big mistake RNG were waiting for, and honestly, I was dreading from TT.
Gotta shout out my boy Ming. That hook to catch Frigid out literally saved Gala's life, and oh my good lord. This Zoe is still doing damage, and with 2 minutes left until that Dragon Soul, one team will have it. One team will be able to get it as we come up to 37 minutes or into this game. It's 3,000 gold in favor of RNG, but those gold leads don't really matter that much anymore. We can see there 4 items, 5 items being picked up by pretty much everyone across the board. You got the GA now onto Gala, so Gala's not only going to be killed once, he's going to have to be killed twice. Look at the work that Xiaohu did in that last fight. Over 4,000 damage. It's basically been between Captain and Xiaohu about how these teams are able to fight in these team fights.
And Xiaohu just found so much damage, particularly on a Puff. And that's the thing. You burst out that Aphelios, you very quickly shut down the threat that TT has. Oh, don't look for Bin again.
I mean, they could burst him down. They've got a lot going for them. And where's he going to go? He's got no more escapes. And finally, TT gets their man. But you've got Baron Bull. If you can push down this mid lane, and you've got a Jinx, they could honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if they tried to look for the base there.
Yeah, I think they were concerned if a flank comes in from Frigid, right? You saw Captain also didn't actually recall. They were scared maybe they get collapsed on, so they opted just back away. The critical thing is, though, 52 seconds on that dragon. Bin is only going to be alive about 10 seconds before it spawns and has no TP. He has to beeline straight towards that dragon, and that means TT, you should be able to contest this area, right? You got 4v5 on the map. Push in, get vision control, and be ready to take this one, because whoever gets this dragon, I think, just gets the game.
This is it. This is the moment. While this is all happening, Graves split pushing in that top side, so a little bit more gold, a little bit more pressure available. TP is available for Nu, so he's in a nice little position. But as I say that, they've been caught out. Captain, oh dearie me, the Shadow Surge will not get another reset, but now Puff's been caught by the zap. He'll flash onto him with the wind, becomes lightning. He'll have to use his heal. He has himself a little bit of movement to try and get himself out. But he does get out, but to what end? Now you're 4v5, and again, so good from TT. That just leads to so bad. Frigid now, I don't think you can solo this. The rest of RNG are coming for you.
Yeah, I think he just wants to be in position, try and find a way to jump over and steal this. Captain make a critical mistake. He had a stopwatch and still got caught out, and he's not going to be alive in time. No TP to join the fight. This has to be a steal from Frigid. It's now or never. Do not smite Ming this time.
Oh, do not smite Ming. They catch Xiaohu, and that's a lot of damage coming out. You can see they're going over the wall with the Graves. Try and catch this one out. Dragon resets as they go in now. Not going to be able to get it. That's going to be the Chem Soul available for RNG. They will kill off Xiaohu on the side of TT, but RNG got themselves a soul. RNG got themselves out, and RNG got themselves back into the advantage.
4 dragons in a row from Wei, able to secure all of them, even with Frigid trying to contest, still gets them time and time again. This guy is clutching it absolutely for RNG, and now with the Chemtech Soul, it feels so difficult. We can see Frigid fly over the wall here, goes invisible, waits for it to get low enough from all this AoE coming out, but Wei just has a better read on the timing, able to snap it, and it's actually just too early coming out from Frigid. He smites it to 300, and you can understand it, right? You're invisible. As soon as you come out, they're going to jump on you. You just have to try and combo with your damage, but he just wasn't that close. And again, RNG secured the Chem Tech Soul. We've talked all season about how broken this Dragon Soul is, and it just makes it so difficult, right? You kill Gala, he's back. You kill Xiaohu, he's back. Everyone on the team essentially got a discount GA. It is very difficult to go up against.
I mean, TT, my heart breaks, my heart bleeds for you right now, my boys, because you had everything. You just needed to sign the letter, seal it off, put a stamp on it, anything to get that to the post office so you could get your W. Sadly, that letter is very much fading away, lost to the ether of the post office right now. I don't know where this analogy is really going right now. I just kind of
to the post office, I think, at this point.
Yeah. I mean, right now it feels like TT are going postal. It just doesn't seem to be going very well for them whatsoever. And for RNG, it's just, again, not a great game from RNG, but they're crawling it back bit by bit, and it's just tough to kind of see where TT can come back into it.
Well, I think the big takeaway, right, is Chemtech Soul super strong in team fights, right? But it's not very good against picks. If you pick someone with Captain, right, it doesn't matter that they come back because they don't come back for good. So Captain can still find an opportunity. If he picks someone important off, if Gala goes down, that could be enough, but it definitely becomes a lot more difficult. And if RNG find an engage, I'm tense.
Yeah, I think we're all feeling a little bit tense right now. It is definitely RNG, though, who have the advantage. RNG have the permanent buff. RNG have themselves a gold lead, a 6-item Jinx as well. So they are feeling good. It's going to be Baron spawning in 20 seconds. Frigid has been spotted out, so he'll have to use his parkour to get himself away should they fully engage on him with the Nautilus. But look at the vision that's available here for the side of RNG in the top side of the map. Triple bubble lands, but it's going to be on the Nautilus. They're going to jump straight in down on top of him and use the dark passage to get Captain out. But again, look at the vision. They are just keeping tabs on everybody. They know where he is. Shadow Surge lands, goes over the wall, and when you've got the AoE of a Vex, it's going to be a massive disappearing act. And now the Baron is pretty much theirs for RNG. With that kill, they also secure themselves an equal scoreline on the board. It just feels like this is RNG's game to lose now.
I feel like I look at the items that Xiaohu has, and I know it is a lot of damage. Then I see it with my eyes, and I'm like, oh my lord. That
Especially when you have no magic resistance. Like, look,
yeah, I mean, he's
look
doing
how
2
quick
damage.
he dies.
Just, it's like, okay, all hits, that's a decent chunk. And what? It's just so
Boom,
disturbing,
baby.
Right? Man, I mean, he has the Rabadons, he has an insane amount of pen. It should be that way, but even so, it's not pretty, right? Especially not if you're TT fan. That is the Baron going over to RNG. Chemtech Soul in pocket, Baron in pocket. Now, as soon as Baron runs out, that Elder Dragon is available. So RNG definitely looking in a dominating position. It has been a long road here. It's not been the best game from them, but they are looking like they should be in a good position to continue their run in this one. Frigid just struggled right after that early game, keeps being focused and picked down, and that's the thing. RNG has found those key targets at the right times, has been able to take them down.
Yeah, 2 and 7, just 7 deaths. Half of the deaths for the side of TT have been onto Frigid, and not been the assassin that we thought he would be on this Talon. So right now it is going to be RNG with that Baron buff, with themselves having the Chem Soul, pushing it towards this bot side. You do have very good wave clear. You have a Zoe, a Graves, and an Aphelios. You just need to not get caught. That's the big thing right now. And right now, it does feel like RNG are just pushing themselves forward, saying, look, we can put it into a mid lane, we can put them into a side lane, it doesn't really matter. We know we can just take away this inhibitor. We got the turret down. Next is going to be the inhibitor, and honestly, this is just going to be a slow burn by RNG just to get themselves the win.
Yeah, I feel like it's so hard for TT because in this position, they can't find the poke from Captain, they can't really threaten, and a team fight, again, the Chemtech Soul makes it so incredibly hard to win one. You start killing people, they start going back, and Gala is feeling so confident right now.
I mean, he should be. He's a full item Jinx. There is nothing that he cannot do. And with the extra range, and you can see 2 shots on the frigid, he's down to half HP. Literally 3 or 4 shots and he's dead. There's nothing you can do. And you don't really have a true tank on your team for TT. Yeah, you've got yourself the Thresh, but he's more utility. He's got the Redemption. He's got the Locket. He's not going to survive that long, compared to the likes of a Nautilus or, hell, even a Xin Zhao.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's so much damage flying around at this point of the game. You get bursted so incredibly quickly, and it's like a little mistake, a little overstep. You don't use an active quickly enough for a summoner spell, you get bursted. Now, they're posturing. They know they have to phase check. Goodbye, SouthWind.
Yep, bye. There's nothing else more to say about that one there. They're going to jump straight back onto him. There's the Shadow Surge, going to be able to take out one more GA, and the Moonlight Vigil is nice, but it is not nice enough. They'll get themselves another kill. There is still a Shadow Surge available there for Xiaohu should he decide to use it. And this is going to be game 1 to RNG. We expected this to happen. What is that damage? Good God. It's not fair. It's not okay. RNG take the win in a long and arduous 46-minute game. And TT so close, yet so far.
It wasn't quick, but they close it out. And TT, man, my heart bleeds. That early game, it felt like they had it. They had 3 dragons with a Chemtech Soul on the way, and they managed to lose from there. Credit to RNG, though. They waited for the mistakes. They punished, right? They didn't get ahead of themselves. They found those opportunities back in the game. But I mean, RNG, I don't think you're completely happy with that game. And TT, you're definitely not happy with that game.
No, again, my heart bleeds, single tier fully stacked, because that was, as we said, out of the 7 games they've played so far in this split, that was probably the best one they've had so far to take a W. That was the best one. That was the best opportunity. They just needed one dragon. One thing to go right. One smite that wasn't on Ming.
Yes. Oh, that hit. That hit. You know what? Frigid's gonna have nightmares about that moment.
I'm gonna have nightmares. I'm gonna be playing jungle now, and I'm like, oh god, see a Nautilus and just get PTSD.
There's 2 sides to it. You know, there's obviously TT made the mistakes, right? We've seen this before. They're just not quite at the same level where they can convincingly close out a game. But RNG, you have to be a team who can punish those and can be strong enough to bounce back. Wei, in particular, didn't do a ton of damage this game, right? But his role of securing those dragons, flawless. 4 in a row, you mess up once, and the game becomes exponentially harder. And he managed to secure all 4 of them. So credit to him for holding on, because I feel like RNG might have just lost of that if he wasn't able to.
Xiaohu's damage as well, 32,500, or just shy of it there. Bin was a non-factor. Bin literally just played PvE all game. He just split push. He basically only did about not even double of that of the Nautilus. So it is a massive game that came from the back of, like you said, Xiaohu, and obviously, of course, coming in from the Wei getting those dragons as well. But it just feels like this should have been, we were obviously having a bit of fun with it. TT should not have lost that game. RNG did come out the win, but I think this is going to be one of those games where people won't know the full story while just looking at the result, because honestly, that was not good from RNG, and I will call them out 100%. This is the MSI champions. These are guys who we, myself included, have touted as people who should be in the top 2, top 3 of the league, and you're losing, or nearly losing, I suppose, against something like of a team that shouldn't even be close to playoffs. That's just not good enough.
I think you see Xiaohu's play, and you're like, yeah, this guy's playing sick, right? The switch to mid is working for him, but the team is just, it's messy, right? Bin didn't have a good game, gets solo killed. Ming's star was atrocious, right? It just feels like the early game coordination isn't as crisp as it used to be. They used to have such a clear plan when they played it, and on top of that, individual members are just not playing well. So back to the drawing board for game 2 for TT, but RNG, I still think there's a lot of distance to cover before you're at the level we expect.
Yeah, bit of a shake-up needed for RNG. We're going to send it to a quick break, though. When we return, picks and bans for game 2.